I'm going to talk a little bit this morning about control. We humans want to be in total control of everything that we do and what goes on around us. Back to nature. From Job chapter 12, verse 10. In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of all mankind. About 7 weeks ago, I got a call from a customer. She's got a bunch of rental properties, and she told me, I got a house and they're having power problems. Half of her house isn't working. Well, that normally indicates to me Duke Energy or Florida Power, depending on which of the providers. So I said, yeah, I'll handle the service call. I won't do any of that anymore, but I handled it. So I drove to Castleberry and got down there, fully expecting to tell the lady to call Duke, because I really believe it was her problem, or their problem. I opened up the panel where the main breaker is, and sure enough, the main breaker is bad on the one side. It's only passing 120 volts, which only lights up half the house and none of the appliances. First thing I did was try to reset it. I jacked it, and I slammed it, and I jacked it, and I slammed it, trying to get that thing to turn loose. And it wouldn't. And so I told the lady in the house, nothing I can do for you today. I've got to go find a main. And I'll come back tomorrow, which would have been Saturday, we'll just check out. So came up to the land supply house, sure enough they had one, which shocked me. Got it, threw it in the car. Saturday morning, I go back to Castleberry. Shut down the power and get ready to move it, pull the breaker. I can't break the lugs loose. I am standing on my wrench trying to break it. I looked all over this lady's yard for anything I could use as a lever to try to break these locks, and they wouldn't break. So I called Wade, and I said, Wade, I need help. He said, well, I got contractors out here at my house. I said, well, you're no help. So I called Marty. I said, Marty, I gotta have help. He said, well, I got the septic tank guy here pumping. I'll be free in about 3 hours. I walked in the house and I told the lady, I said, I'll get help, but it's going to be about 3 hours. And so we stood and talked and what have you, and I finally, I didn't turn the power back on, and this poor lady, at least she had lights on part of her house, and she had fans wherever the plugs were. So I went outside and I threw the breaker, and I went, that sounded different, but paid no attention to it, walked in, flipped the light, went through the laundry room into the house, and I'm talking to her again. Marty's going to be at least another 2 hours. And she said, laundry room light wasn't on before you got here. And I went, oh, really? Went back outside and put my meter in. The breaker had reset. So now I have power to the house. Her air conditioner's coming on, her stove's going to work, her hot water heater's going to make hot water. And I'm going, okay, let's leave you the way you are. We'll get down here next week with help and try to bust these things loose and get it changed. And she said it sounded good to her, so I closed up the panel and I walk outside to my truck and I'm putting the stuff away. And a lady across the street walking calls over to me and says, could you give me a ride? And I said, ma'am, where do you need to go? She says, I'm having a full-blown asthma attack. And my inhaler, I left it at a friend's house about a mile from here. Can you give me a ride? I said, yes ma'am, I can, but in the meantime, do you think this might help you? Since I carry one of these now because of the COPD. And she said, oh, you don't mind? I said, absolutely not. So I gave her my inhaler, she took a couple of puffs, her lungs started to open, she's breathing normally, the dad's with her. And she says, you don't mind taking us? Absolutely not, hop in the truck. So I took her, and it was about a mile, just a little subdivision over. She got out very thankful. And I thought about it driving home, and I said, if that breaker would have set on Friday, I wouldn't be here. If that breaker hadn't fought me like it fought me, and kept me outside trying to figure out some way to get that thing to work, I wouldn't have been here. But when I was ready to leave, God was ready for me to do something. So folks, when you find yourself with an obstacle in front of you, look around God's probably asking you to be an angel on earth for Him and see what you can do. Amen.